All right, so picks and bans for week one. Now, we're going to be using the lock-in tournament stats today just because that's the closest patch, pretty much the same meta. Before we get into the lock-in meta, just to explain a little bit more about how the pick and ban works, you can see you get to pick one champion for your player. And if your player plays that champion in any of their 3 games, then the points from that game are multiplied by a certain multiplier. In this case, this league is set to 1.25. So what you want to keep in mind here is that you're not just picking a champion that you think your player might play. That's good. But to be even better than that, you want to pick a champion that you think your player is going to do well on. Because those points, if they have a higher point spread that game, then it's going to get multiplied. It's going to mean even more. And then kind of the reverse of that for when you're doing bans, you might not want to just ban someone that you think that the enemy player or the opposing player is going to play. You want to ban someone that you think they're really strong on, or that they might get a win on. So, for example, in top lane is really easy. Top lane, you've got some like priority picks. Renekton with like Nidalee is a combination that a lot of teams are using. So if a top laner picks Renekton, they're probably getting the jungler up there early on in the laning phase. But if they pick Ornn, well, they're probably sitting under turret, playing weak side, and just getting farm where they can, and then utilizing that big game-changing ultimate later. So it's probably not worth picking Ornn as much as it is worth picking Renekton, because even if your player plays Renekton once and Ornn twice, you might actually get more points from the multiplier from that one Renekton game than you would from 2 Ornn games. I hope that makes sense. So if we look overall at the stats here for the lock-in tournament, you'll notice a couple things. Pantheon permabanned for all 42 games. Don't pick or ban Pantheon. It's just not worth it. He's not going to be played. Olaf also banned quite a few games. Now, maybe this is one worth picking for your player. Like if I take a look here, I've got Broxa, and CLG didn't look so great in the lock-in tournament. Maybe there's a chance that one of these teams lets Olaf through and Broxa just power farms through, and it gets you at least those bonus 2 points for the farm lead. So I think I am actually going to, I would look to maybe pick Olaf here. Also maybe Lee Sin, but I think I'm going to pick Olaf for Broxa specifically because of that. Kai'Sa has a really high win rate, and Taliyah actually has a really high win rate as well. So Olaf Taliyah would probably be a better pick in the jungle, especially if it's a strong jungler who you think would win. But we'll go through role by role here. Those were just kind of overall thoughts on definitely don't pick Pantheon. Olaf probably not worth it if you have a high tier jungler because they're just not going to get Olaf. So if we go top lane here. Renekton, highest win rate. If you don't know who to pick, I'd pick Renekton. Renekton's good strong side jungler, and he can get solo kills. He can snowball a game. Pretty good KDA overall. Like actually, I think almost the highest across the board. Gragas actually has higher, but Renekton's a really solid pick regardless. And so because of that, I'm actually banning Renekton for solo. I don't even know if solo's playing or if the game is going to swap this out to Finn, but I would say I just don't want that CLG player getting Renekton points. I think it's probably the only way that CLG is going to have a good top lane is if they pick that Renekton. So overall, probably Renekton. I'd look at your Nar Camille Gragas would be in there, and potentially Gangplank because he farms like a machine, right? Really high CS numbers. But we'll move on to jungle here. So in the jungle, sorry, I was taking a look at someone else there on who won on Renekton. So in the jungle, Graves, Nidalee, Lilia, Taliyah. Makes a lot of sense. Udyr has some good stats, but I think you're probably going to have more chance of someone dying. Udyr does have good farm, but it does fall off later in the game. So yeah, it's kind of hit or miss. Like Udyr is a power farmer, but that's kind of the theme with all of these champions. Maybe not Lilia as much. Graves and Nidalee and Taliyah, they just rip through the jungle, right? So I would say, wow, Nidalee has a bonkers win rate. That's crazy. I would say probably you're looking for Nidalee, Graves are going to be really good picks. Potentially Kindred. are going to get you the most points there. So for Blabber, now I'm not just looking in terms of the jungle. If we go and look at these Kindred games, I think I click on this. It brings up who's played them. And you can see like 3 of the Kindred games were on Blabber. Blabber's known for his Kindred. It's a good champion that you can like build a team comp around. And when they do build a team comp around Blabber, he oftentimes does really well. Pretty solid KDA and like just farms like crazy. And then because he's also a marksman, they give him side lane farm. So I'm going to ban Kindred in this case. Wow, Kindred's not even on here. I don't get a choice. Wow. I don't want Blabber playing Kindred. I can search? Kindred. There we go. All right. Yeah, don't want Blabber playing Kindred. All right, let's move on to mid lane here. So mid lane, TF probably the most consistent mid laner. You're seeing a lot of TF Orianna, TF Syndra. TF just prints money, right? And so he, generally has good CS, although those CS numbers are actually a little bit lower, probably because he ends up in the side lane. Another good one to pick would be Ryze, depending on your mid laner. So I'm going to go take a look here. I have Demonte. Demonte was on Ryze quite a few times. I think there was only actually 2 people who played Ryze throughout the tournament. Demonte had 3 games and Jizuke had 3 games. So I'm going to pick Ryze for Demonte. He gets a lot of farm. Not the greatest KDA from Demonte. Only 1 kill in three games, but he does get put on just like that Hoover mode, CSing. Go to a side lane, CS. So I'm going to pick Ryze. Also, there's a high chance that, TF, Syndra, Orianna might get banned out, especially if mid lane's left to the second ban phase. So it makes us a lot of sense to go with a Ryze. Probably not getting banned out. I don't think Ryze drew any bans in the, let's see here, Ryze didn't have a single ban throughout the tournament. So it's a higher chance that they're going to play it. Now, if I'm looking at those mid lane stats again, I probably don't want Power of Evil on Twisted Fate or Orianna. He's really known for his Orianna, so I think I'm probably gonna ban the Ori away from him. He is a monster on Orianna, so I'll ban that away. Can't believe CLG let him go, man. Let's move on to the bot lane. So, bot lane here, Kai'Sa, obviously a huge one. She was really popping off in a lot of games. Misfortune though, wow, is really killing it. So I would say probably Kai'Sa Jhin. That was most games. I'm gonna pick Kai'Sa for Sven. Actually, Sven was playing a lot of Senna as well. Senna just doesn't farm on Senna, so that's the one negative part. I think I'm gonna go Kai'Sa for Sven. Now Reyes, really don't know too much about him, so I'm just gonna go based on the stats. I'm gonna ban the Jhin. We'll ban the Kai'Sa. I'm gonna do same champ for both one. We're gonna go Kai'Sa. And we'll move on to support. So in support, we've got Leo, Alistar. Six players playing each of those champions. I think Leo, Alistar, Thresh, Rel were kind of across the board. Rel definitely drew a couple of bans, for sure. 13 bans for Rel, 7 bans for Leona. Now looking at these players here, I think I'm gonna look at who played. Yeah, Vulcan played a lot of Leona. Vulcan is known for his Alistar. I would just be surprised if the Alistar gets let through for Vulcan to play. Yeah, Vulcan played 5 games, has a 100% win rate. I'm gonna go with Alistar. I think there's a very low chance that he gets Alistar, but if he does, he's got insane stats on it. Like, look at that, 4 KDA or 15 KDA for Vulcan on Alistar. This guy's an absolute monster. So we'll pick Alistar. Even if it gets through in 1 game, he could pop off huge. Now Ignar, I don't really know too much, so I want to look at Ignar. I was just gonna bring up his whole. Dang. Be really interesting to see who Ignar played throughout the tournament here. Ignar didn't have quite the best stats on Alistar. Played a lot of Thresh. Let's go back to those support stats. I think I'd probably just ban the Thresh. Ignar's really good at hook champs. He's also known for his Leona. It's really hard to tell, but Leo drew more bans than Thresh did just because of the point and click for sure. So I'm gonna go with Thresh. And that's kind of how you do it. So that's me going through one set. I'm gonna really quickly go through another set here. So I also have Huni in this game or in this league. So again, gonna pick Gnar. I think Gnar's just too strong to not pick for Huni. Against Fudge, I think this is an easy one. Fudge looked insane on Aurelia. If people let him have it, I really don't want him playing Aurelia. Just ban that away. Everything else he played weak side and didn't look so hot. So Closer, if we go back to the jungle, Closer was looking really good on Graves, also on Nidalee. I think I'm going to pick Nidalee just because she does have that insane win rate. High chance that it gets banned, but Closer did play really well on it. So we're going to pick that Nidalee. Dardoch, now Dignitas is one of the weaker teams. And I find sometimes with the weaker teams, like if it's like Dignitas TL or Dignitas 100 Thieves, you can see those games are happening later on. Sometimes they'll leave up the stronger champions just because they think they kind of want to test something out against it. Well, I'm sure they're testing it out in scrims, but you know what I mean. Like when it comes to C9 Team Liquid, they're not taking any chances. They might let Dardoch have Olaf. So I kind of want to ban the Olaf here. Dardoch's also insane on Lee Sin, but I'm going to ban the Olaf just because he is really, really strong on it. We'll go to Perks for mid lane. Perks, I'm going to pick Syndra. Well, Perks was playing a lot of weird stuff. He was playing Yone a bunch. I might pick Yone because that really fit into the Cloud9 strategy there, but let's see here. 6 games of Yone. I think I'm going to go Syndra. That's what Perks looked the best on. Had way less deaths on it than he did on Yone. Jensen, don't want Jensen getting TF or Syndra. I think I'm going to ban the TF away. I'm kind of speeding through this because I don't want this video to be too long. For Lost here, Lost was looking really good on Aphelios, I believe. He had a few games of Aphelios. Aphelios does not have good stats. Oh no, I was thinking of Tactical. Tactical popped off on Aphelios. I'm going to pick the Misfortune. Misfortune actually has crazy stats here. And if Lost does end up playing... Well, let's see. Did he play any Misfortune? I shouldn't have picked Lost in the draft. I don't know that much about him. Lost didn't play Misfortune. All right, well, we're going to go... Lost definitely plays a lot of Ezreal. So we'll go with... Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's tried and true. He'll probably end up playing Kai'Sa, so we'll go with that. FBI's Aphelios has been strong in the past, but I think I'm just going to go the Kai'Sa ban across the board. Let's go back to that MF stats. Where's FBI did play it and kind of popped off. I'm going to ban the Misfortune. I could see that being picked up a lot more, especially the Misfortune Leo combo is pretty strong. Smoothie, also really good on Alistar, Nautilus. I'm going to pick the Alistar. I think Smoothie's just really strong on it. It looks a lot better. Ooh, man. Yikes. CLG, man. Look at all those losses. And Sword Art. Let's take a look really quick at... I think we'll ban out the... I'll ban out the Leo in this case. Leo's just a really strong champ and has really good ratios for KDA and getting assists. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, we'll do Leo. So that's the second league. Kind of went a little faster through it. I would encourage you, go look at the Gamepedia, look at the lock-in stats, look at week 1 stats next week when you're deciding who to pick and ban. So hopefully that's helpful. Hit subscribe so that you'll be up to date for week 2. I'll be putting out another video next week. And good luck in your first week of fantasy.